Hello traders, welcome back to market breakdowns on Probity Group channel. So if you are watching this video via TikTok, Facebook or YouTube, you want to make sure that you follow this page for more content like this. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down some markets and I'm going to be sharing my own expectation on those assets. So, not to waste much of our time, let's just get straight into it. And right in front of me here, I have the chart of CHF JPY, the Swiss franc, and the Japanese yen. But this is not where I'm going to be starting. You can see we have a beautiful trending structure in this particular pair. So let's just start right from the major currency. You already know, if you have been following me, I only trade the major pairs, the commodities and indices, and recently I just added the JPY crosses. So starting with GBP USD, one thing about GBP USD here, one thing about GBP USD, there are some quite number of times that I've attempted to sell this particular currency, but each time I do that, it is either price came back to eat me at my break even, because I don't expect them to actually pull back more. So it is either price came back to eat my break even or eat my trailing stop loss. So after zooming out, and this is one thing we need to consider as a trader, whenever you are eating series of either losses or break evens on trades, you don't need to start forcing yourself into trade setups. You want to make sure that you go back to the higher time frame to see if you're actually in alignment with what you are trying to do on the lower time frame. So when I zoom back to the higher time frame, I notice that we are actually trapped in a range on GBP USD. So GBP USD, I'm anticipating a sell move, because if I should shrink my chart a bit, you would see that we are actually in a downtrend market, and for a very long time most of the highs are actually protected. Right here we have equal highs, and right at this point, this is currently standing as a lower high, and I'm expecting a continuation to the downside. But ever since price has getting to this point, it has just been some kind of range or choppiness that the market has just been creating, and it is from here I was able to spot these chart patterns. This is where I currently have a concern, because this chart patterns is actually a bilateral pattern. It is either price can break to the upside or it breaks to the downside, but I'm expecting it to break to the downside. However, the market can choose to go up. Of course, we are going to look for bullish movement to this resistance, but if we are able to break below, then we can expect the collapse to start coming in. So from here, since price has been trapped here, the best thing for me as a swing trader is just to overlook this market. I don't want to start going into the nitty-gritty of lower time frame, trying to just pick out trade opportunities, since it is not clear for me on this higher picture. Let me just show you what I'm going to do if I found myself on a trade. So on this weekly chart, you can see this as well. Now, one thing we have here is that price is making higher lows, and at the same time we are making lower highs. That is the reason why we have this formation of this symmetrical triangle. Price can decide to shoot up once more before we start collapsing to the downside, or price can actually break below, then we start moving to the downside. However, for me, on GBP USD, I will be sitting on my hands. Okay, we are back. So for me, on GBP USD, I'm doing nothing. If you are a day trader, you are a scalper, of course you can find opportunity. But with the way I trade, I have nothing to do with GBP USD for now, unless we break below or price try to push higher. Either ways, if any of this did not happen, I'm not taking any position on GBP USD. If we look at the day chart, the day chart looks like, of course, we are having a downtrend structure. If you are a lower time frame trader, you would have even picked a sell opportunity at this point. If you trade demand and supply, you would have picked a sell opportunity right here. But trust me, for me, since we are not so clear, you can see we are not so clear yet. So I rather stay out of this market until I'm seeing a proper trend. So for now, GBP USD is just out of it. Now I am more interested on Euro USD to GBP USD because this year is more clearer than GBP USD. And this is one of the reasons why you don't have to force yourself to trade. You can see here I have these icons. I'm expecting the market to push here. But one concern here is that price has started pushing more lower. If price push lower, it is either I miss this trade or price come back to this region. Now let's walk it through also from the hour time frame. If we look at the monthly charts, unlike that of GBP USD, this is currently, let me take this off, price is currently sitting at a resistance level. You can see this blue bar zone has multiple reactions previously. Price has reacted to it multiple times, and right now that is where we are having that rejection from, unlike what we have on GBP USD. So if we start to zoom in to see what is currently happens with market here, what did you notice from this point? If you understand chart patterns, there is a chart pattern that is clearly showing here, which is the head and shoulder pattern. Head and shoulder pattern signify a sell movement, and we have been able to break below the neckline. So I'm only waiting for a retracement back into the neckline for further push to the downside. And if price started to push to the downside, where we are most likely to have a pause, is this zone. So if I'm able to get a sell opportunity, I'm looking forward to hold for a long-term swing, or let me say short-term, because this is actually not a long-term, a short-term or mid-term swing back to 1.115. So look at what has happened previously to price here. You can see we have a double top and market collapsed heavily. So we pushed back up. Price was not able to break above this high. Didn't even get there. We tried to, but the sellers held on to this point. So we created this, price formed these chart patterns, head and shoulder, break of the neckline. We are simply waiting for a retest. There are some times whereby the retest might not come. If that happens, I might actually miss this trade, or probably have another means of entry. But for now, I'm actually expecting it to push back. There are times whereby price will not retest the neckline. There are times we break and then we just push. Just imagine in this case, we have this double top. Ideally, we will be waiting for a retracement to the neckline of the double top for continuation, but you can see we break below, then candlestick starts dropping. Similar thing may happen, whichever the case may be. Don't rush to enter a trade. Don't rush and say to yourself, I don't want to miss this trade. Wait for what you think is best for you. Your entry location actually matters. So now let's keep things down to weekly charts. If we look at the weekly charts, You can see this is the neckline. It becomes very more obvious on the weekly chart, and that is the reason why I have had that previous eyeball icon at this point. Like, okay, this is a very good location for me to take this trade from, and I'm expecting price to push here, looking for look for my entry confirmation. Then I'm going to hold on for a mid-term swing on Euro USD. So this one looks actually way more clearer than that of GBP USD, and that is why I have nothing to do with GBP USD for now, and I keep my eyes monitoring Euro USD. If we look at the day chart, now this is one thing here. The day chart is actually respecting this level, but this level is not, for me is not good enough. That is why I'll just keep it here. It is this level, or I miss this trade, or this is another thing that I'm seeing right now. But for me, I'm not going to be picking this trade yet. Price is trying to create a flag, a break. We already have a break below. You can see a strong daily candlestick is going to close below, giving us an inverse hammer candlestick, signaling a strong sell. We might actually start coming down from here. Price may not push back here. If this candlestick closes this strong, we may actually drop more lower. But because of the location this is happening, it's not a location that I actually trust that much. If I'm going to be taking this trade, I'm going to be reducing my risk because I actually prefer this location. So since this is not a, let me say, not so good location for me, if I'm going to be taking this trade, usually I use the 4-hour to enter my trade, or the 1 hour sometimes. So if I'm going to be picking a trade right here, we even have an evening star candle confirmation break, stop loss above like this, that is 85 pips stop loss. Then I'm targeting this next zone. So I'm going to be reducing my risk. So this, we might actually start coming down from this point on Euro USD. I think you have been actually spending so much time. I'm going to be taking things very fast now. Let's look at AUD USD. AUD USD has a similar outlook like that of Euro USD, but here we didn't create the second shoulder. This is the first shoulder, this is the head. Or can price still push up? If this price starts pushing up, it means Euro USD also will still come and push up. Either ways, if I'm going to be taking any opportunity on AUD USD, I need this level to break. This level has to break, because structurally on the weekly chart, this level can still hold price for more buys, but I need that level to be taken out first before I start considering trade opportunity on AUD USD. So if we break like this, then a retracement back here, and then we can look for sell continuation on AUD USD. For now, I just have to keep my eyes away on AUD USD. Before all of this could happen, it might take a week or two. So nothing to do with AUD USD, GBP USD for now. And let's move to NZD USD. NZD USD, we have price approaching, let me take this off, approaching supports. We can see a downtrend, and also this is creating some sort of a descending triangle pattern. A descending triangle pattern is a sell, or let me say a bearish continuation pattern. Sometimes it might break to the upside, but it is actually a bearish continuation pattern. If price is able to break below, then we expect further decline of price. So here we are still trying to approach this level. There are still a little bit of room to the downside, and since the trend also is a downtrend, we should be looking to sell on this particular pair. So if we go down to the weekly chart, On the weekly chart right here, there is something I spot. There's a pattern I spot here. I actually missed the trade thing somewhere right here. There's this trend line I have. So this trade right here, the candles moves to very large, very large. You can see this weekly candle moves very large. I was actually expecting some retracement back to catch the sell, but market says no. So it's actually moved more to the downside, and right here I can see these points and obvious levels that price has reacted to, and currently now as we speak I'm spotting this level, because one thing I recently started doing is that looking at the obvious levels. It is either on the daily or the weekly, but I'm taking the weekly more important. The daily might just be for some slight adjustments. If it is clear on weekly, it is good. I don't need anything on the daily, because this level tends to hold prices more than you can. Of course, you don't want to compare it to the 15-minute levels that you want to mark. So here I can see this level as well, because we can see multiple price reaction. This is what makes you to actually consider a key levels to be valid. You can see that is where we have price currently reacting to. Before now, I'm paying attention to this zone. But now, because I'm seeing this clearly now, so we might actually expect some sales at this region. So let's move to the day chart. And now on the day chart, we can see our price is currently reacting to this point. We've had the last candlestick try to pierce through, rejected, and current candlestick also tried to pierce through and now is also getting rejected. This is signaling that we have sellers sitting at this region, and we might actually be looking for sell opportunity to this blue zone, which is the major zone on the higher time frame. So now the next thing, since price is currently at our location, the next thing is to look for your entry confirmation. Irrespective of the entry confirmation you may want to use it. For me, I have different methods. I use patterns, I use counter trend line breaks, I use candlesticks, and in this case we are having patterns. You can see this top one, top two, and you can see strong candlestick. So I'll wait for how this current candlestick is going to close. We also may actually look for sell opportunity right here, place our stop loss, and then we have our take profit all the way down. So this is what we have currently on NZD USD. And one thing we need to pay attention to as well is this counter trend line. I actually do pay more attention to this, and in fact, since we are having this, I would not be entering here. I would not. This is based on my own personal experience. Of course, you might be watching this and say that, of course, this is clear already. Why not take this trade? I've had series of experience whereby when we have these patterns, price only drop to this and we reject from here. Price can actually went ahead to sweep this high, which they call liquidity sweep, to go up here and then comes back down again, or might actually come down here, then try to hold up a bit, then drop. I have three different ways that I actually enter trade. This is one of the strongest. This is the one I consider the strongest from my entry confirmation. Counter trend line. It protects me from entering too early from a trade. So I will actually be waiting for this counter trend line to break before I can take any position on NZD USD. If you are enjoying this video, if you are enjoying this insight, make sure to like this video and follow if you haven't done so. You can also comment below if you have any questions. I'm going to be watching the comment section as well. Let's move on. USD Canada. I think we are taking a lot of time. I don't want this video to be too long. USD cards. USD cards. Let's take it from the monthly charts. I'm going to be a bit faster now. So we have this resistance that has been holding price. Price get to that point, we expect it to drop massively, but we created a higher lows. Now we are back to that resistance. The question is, are we going to break or are we going to push? Actually, my long-term bias here is that we are going to push based on what DXY is doing. So here we can see, you see, whenever we are approaching a resistance level and price is creating higher low, price touch a resistance, it could not drop like far, just created higher low and we are pushing back to that resistance. Believe you me, that resistance is going to break. Same thing where we have a support. This is usually what we create the ascending or descending triangle pattern. So right here we might actually break, but where price currently is, I'm not interested until we fully break above, retest, and then continuation. USD card, nothing here yet. Then the next one here is USD CHF. This market is still very, very painful, you know, especially when you miss out on a trade and the trade starts playing out as you have anticipated. It's actually very, very painful. I anticipated this buy right from this point. There was a chart pattern right here. Let's check the day charts. Yes, head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder at this point. So the market pull up to break it. I was expecting before, this is how I have my level. So I was expecting price to come down here until when I missed this trade, I was just trying to recheck and I was like, oh, I didn't actually connect this dot here properly. So I then readjust here. I did not actually connect those dots. If I change it to line charts, you will see that those were the point that price actually reacted to more. So if I had have it like this before, I would have taken a buy trade. And not only that, I remember something happened here. There was a news release and the candlestick here was actually too big. Yes, I remember that too, because this point also lines up with a fib level of 0.5. Okay, almost. And we had a chart pattern there too. Those were the things that was lining up there and I was interested in taking a buy trade. You can see this is the Welch pattern. So this candlestick, this happens, I think it was FOMC news. The candlestick was just too large, so of course you don't want to enter a trade here then put your stop loss here. So that is the reason why we actually missed out on this trade. And you can see market went ahead to push up because I was targeting this extreme. Actually did get to where I expected it. We have this retracement and now we are pushing back up. So what is my outlook now? My outlook now is just to be patient because price just gets to this other minor resistance level here. Let me change out to line charts. Okay. Alright, you can see now multiple touches on this level. Now we are currently having a break, but don't be so quick to go jump to the lower time frame and start looking for retracement. I'm still expecting this market to push here, so we might actually push, then retrace, and we are going to look for bullish continuation. Let me take this out now, not useful for now. So wait for the break and retest, and then we can go long on USD CHF. And lastly, on the major currency pair, we have the USD JPY. Nothing much here. This market is moving so slow, but it is still trending to the upside. and the market more has even moved further than where you can want to take entry, unless you are trading on the lower time frame. You might actually have some 5 minute support resistance there, or your demand supply level, fair value gap, everything. You can find those on the lower time frame, but here I've been able to filter out those noises. I only want to trade what is clearer on the higher time frame. The trend is bullish. We are currently at higher high, so you don't want to buy there unless we have some retracement. This market might still actually push higher before any form of retracement can come. So for now, I would be watching it on the side and nothing there yet. Now let's move. This is gold. Of course, you love to trade golds, right? So this is gold. On gold right here, gold is testing this level, and trust me, if you break this level, which it might happen, gold might actually come to this next level, 3,400. Massive dump may happen on gold if this current level fails to hold. We might see gold dropping all the way down. If we look at the day charts, there is something I want to show on weekly charts. I think previously there was a trend line like this. Yeah, you can see we already break through that trend line. Price break through that trend line, might be this level next. We might be approaching this level. So on the day chart, I had this because I spotted this double bottom. This is the reason why I said one of my key entry techniques is the counter trend line. If there is no way for me to mark a counter trend line, then I would follow candlestick momentum. But if there is a way that I can mark a counter trend line, I'm definitely going to enter with a counter trend line. So here we have this double bottom, a break, retracement. Of course, if you go to the lower time frame, there are candlesticks for you to have entered this trade. This base is what from the double bottom, we break through, came down, retest. These are some candle confirmations right here. You'd have entered this trade a little bit in profit, then stop loss. If I have reasons that, okay, the way this market moves like a flag into the zone, I'm using counter trend line. If, let's say, let me just give you one gist. I have this in my course. If we just move like this and price just comes straight like this, that is when I'm going to follow candlestick. But you see, when we start moving in waves back to the zone, I'm using counter trend line. So that's the reason why. So I have this counter trend line. In fact, one of my students was also anticipating a buy. I said, let's wait for the break of this counter trend line. If we don't have this break of this counter trend line, then there is no reason to buy gold yet. Now look at it. If we are just jump on it based on this, because we have a rules that we follow, we have a playbook that we follow. If we have this is what we are going to follow. If we don't have this is what we are not going to follow. So since we have what is actually one of our topmost priority, that is what I want to follow. And look at it here, it has saved us from premature entry. There are times it will have just pop out and market start trending. You will want to ask, if you had entered earlier, you would be able to make more. That is not the goal. We actually want to follow what we have in our trading playbook. So this has saved us from having losses. So right here now, gold is trading inside of here. I can still extend my counter trend line. Let me take away this level. So let's see if price is able to break out from this counter trend line. We might actually expect a bullish gold. If not, then the downtrend continues. You can see lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. We have a lower low, the downtrend continues, and we're looking to sell gold. Similar thing we have on silver. You can see this level Not so strong, actually, not so strong. Trust me, if we break this 2 year, this is where we are coming. So that is going to support what we are expecting on gold as well. Gold might actually drop to 3,400. Bitcoin, this is not ready to actually push up. I've been anticipating a buy for quite a while at this zone, but this market is just so slow, just so slow. So no rush, don't rush, don't rush. Even if you are trading on the lower time frame, only trade when you actually feel like, okay, this actually meets what I'm going to take. Ask yourself, if I take this trade now and I see the same opportunity again, are you going to take it? If the answer is no, just keep that trade, just keep it. Next one here is S&P 500. We break through of this triangle pattern. I don't take this trade. I only put this here hypothetically to see how this market is going to move. I don't take this, but I'm actually expecting the bullish continuation. NAS 100, I'm currently on this position. Similar pattern with what we just saw on S&P 500. You can see this ABCD I just spot. This is one of the a wave pattern that we can use when trading this type of pattern. So I'm expecting markets to actually push from this point E. So currently now we are still running in loss. If we scale down to the 4 hours chart, if price is able to push higher, then we might have, in fact there's something interesting I'm currently seeing now, we might have an inverse head and shoulder. You can see if price is able to close back up, we have an inverse head and shoulder, and that might support a bullish continuation. But for now, we still have our stop loss in place. Stop loss is still in place. No reason to panic yet. Still monitor our trades. And also I have Japan 225. On this particular one, I'm also long here. You can see price is trading at the extreme of my channel. We close inside. I waited for I think I use a counter trend line. Okay, that should be on the 1 hour. Yes, this here I have a counter trend line. We have this break, we have this little head and shoulder. So I took my entry here, a little bit in profit, then we are back at this base. So we are having this bigger flag pattern. If price is able to break above, and that's the reason why I have this alert here, if price is able to even come here, it means we are able to break above this flag, and then we can actually continue to go up. So I'm long here on Japan 225 and also long on NAS 100. US 30, no position on this because this is yet to break out from a zone. We have actually approached the extreme top of a bullish channel plus a resistance. So no reason for trade yet. No reason for trade yet here. And then lastly on the JPY crosses, this is GBP JPY. If we are able to drop lower, we might continue to go down. This is AUD JPY. I'm long on this particular pair, but I've been on this trade for a few days now, and the market is still inside of my entry. And this is one of the frustrating things you can get in trading. There are times you enter a trade, immediately you swing into profit. Sometimes immediately you eat stop loss, and sometimes you have something like this. You enter the trade and then the price just go into a nasty range. I've been holding for I think 3 days now. You might actually want to say that would have accounted for a whole lot of swap. No. There's a video I put on my Facebook and TikTok. You can actually earn positive swap. So I'm getting positive swap on this. I'm not paying swap. I'm earning swap on this particular pair. If you want to know how, go and follow me on TikTok. You will watch the video and understand how you can have a positive swap. So I'm still holding my position. Stop loss below here. You can see we're able to break above this channel. We had a retest, which is the reason why we took this trade. So this level is my first level target, and anticipation I'm looking at this resistance for more further push. NZD-JPY, I missed out on this one. This already moved before I spot it. Similar thing on AUD-JPY, extreme, daily zones. In fact, this is a weekly zone because it was actually more obvious on weekly. You can see weekly zone. I'm expecting bullish continuation. We missed this already. Don't jump at trade at the middle. If you are a probity trader, of course you understand that trading at the middle, it has lower probability. So only trade from points that you feel like this point, yeah, you can actually take a bet on that. So CAT JPY, I'm long on this one too. You can see I'm long on this one. The JPYs are giving almost similar same vibe. So we have a falling wedge here. We have a breakout of this pattern. Let's look at that on the day chart. We have a breakout, a retest. Now we are trying to push higher. So I'm expecting price to continue to move higher in the coming days and weeks. I actually plan to hold this all through this month. I plan to hold this all through this month, but let's see how the market reacts to that. CHF JPY, which is what we foresaw when we started this. So CHF JPY, we are having a beautiful uptrend. Market is trading at the extreme. We just broke through a resistance. I'm waiting for price to come to this resistance. Yes, we might come to this resistance. If we did have a candle confirmation right here, I'm going long. If we don't, we might still drop more lower for long opportunity. What I'm expecting here is a long opportunity. I'm not trading the retracement. I'll be waiting for price to come down. And the way it's looking, I can start seeing my counter trend line. Let's go to the day chart. You are going to see that well. I can start see counter trend line. So if we have something like this, we range here, and we did have something like this, that's going to be our bullish entry trigger for bullish continuation on CHF JPY. And lastly, Euro JPY. Like if you haven't done so, just like now, like. It also helps this page to grow, you understand, and that is also a way of like telling me thank you. So right here we have price trading slightly above resistance. We have a chart pattern, but for this chart patterns here, I'm waiting for market to break above, not taking the risk of entering inside. I want it to break above. If you break above, then we are going to have a strong push. It is not all the time you will have markets expanding like this and market going to retrace like this, then continue again, retrace like that, then continue again. It is not all the time. There are times price move up, a little bit of consolidation, move up, another form of consolidation, move up. Sometimes you might have that deeper retracement, sometimes you might not just get that. That is the reason why you need to also understand chart patterns, or you devise other method in which you can enter a trade. And that will be that on this episode of Market Breakdowns or Chart Insight. So thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you for watching to this very end. Also, you haven't subscribed, you didn't follow yet, make sure you do that now. And next time I posted a content like this, you want to be among those that would be first notified. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.